Alright, so this isn't exactly how I would start off 2024 with my first video, but here it is. Riot Games has recently announced that they are laying off 530 people globally from their company. The announcement came from their Twitter, which reads as follows, quote, "Minutes ago, we shared an important update with Rioters about the future of Riot Games. Here's what these changes mean for our games and what players can expect from us going forward," end quote, which is immediately followed by a link to their blog post, which we'll get into now. The blog post starts off with a similar worded paragraph from their Twitter post, but moving beyond that, we see exactly what's going on. Quote, "For most of our history, we've managed to avoid days like this, but this decision is critical for the future of Riot. This isn't to appease shareholders or to hit a quarterly earnings number, it's a necessity. Over the past few years, as Riot more than doubled in headcount, we spread our efforts across more and more projects without sharp enough razors to decide what players needed most. The adjustments we're making aim to focus us on the areas that have the greatest impact on your experience while reducing investment on the things that don't. This means we're eliminating about 530 roles globally, which represents around 11% of Rioters, with the biggest impact on teams outside of core development. We recognize that most of you don't just care about the games you play, but also about the people who make them. These are not just organizational changes, they affect individuals and families, and we do our best to approach these decisions with respect and sensitivity. If you'd like to read the email we sent to Rioters, we've shared it here," end quote. Now, outside of these massive layoffs, the main takeaways from this blog post are as follows. The first one is that they are committing to core games, so this includes games like League of Legends, Valorant, Teamfight Tactics, and Wild Rift. The second revolves around Legends of Runeterra. Now, they did mention something about Legends of Runeterra facing financial challenges, so they're refocusing their development from that to something called the Path of Champions. Now, I'm not exactly sure what that is, if it's within Legends of Rioter, never really got into it, but that's what they're saying. Finally, they are ending new game development under Riot Forge, so Riot Forge is being sunsetted completely. Moving on to the email to Rioters that was linked in the original blog post, again, outside of the layoffs, the main takeaways are this. They are sending emails to those that are going to be affected or may be affected, so they're not leaving the entire development team or the entire company stressed out and waiting for an answer to see what's going on. The next thing is actually something despite everything that's going on, I think is pretty decent of Riot. There's a number of things here, which of course I'll link in the description so you can read everything for yourself, but my main takeaways were this. Everyone affected will be getting a 6-month severance, a cash bonus, which I believe is based on some sort of internal KPI, retention of health benefits through the final day of employment where applicable, so this is kind of telling me that when they get notified, they're not being let go immediately, so there is some time for them to retain their health benefits. And also, this is the one that really stuck out to me. They can request a computer after turning their initial work equipment in if they do not have the means to find another job, because as stated in this article, you kind of need a computer to search for a job. So if you don't have a PC, laptop, maybe you don't even have a smartphone, you can request one from Riot in order to go ahead and start your job search. Now, this isn't the case for everybody, so it's probably a case-by-case basis just based on the verbiage, but still, I think that's a really cool thing that they're doing. The thing about this whole situation is that gaming and tech industries as a whole are being hit hard with layoffs, and this is an ongoing trend. Recent examples include Twitch, which is not necessarily a gaming company, but they're gaming adjacent as a tech company, and Larian Studios, the guys that made Baldur's Gate 3. Over 2023, reportedly 6,500 jobs were lost in gaming alone, according to the LA Times, which was also mentioned in a Wired article, both of which I will link down in the description, both good reads. Though the trend has thought to have started with the video game boom during the pandemic in 2020, and recently coming to a head now with overhiring during the pandemic. So some people are thinking this is some kind of course correction as a result of overhiring. The thing is, even pre-pandemic, Activision Blizzard laid off around 800 employees in 2019 despite reporting record profits. Massive layoffs are not new, but the reasoning may evolve based on the times. For example, right now the general public spending power isn't what it used to be, let's be honest. This probably could be a reason why some studios are downsizing on a massive scale. The buying power just isn't there for some people, which means less money made for the studios, which means they can't pay their people or retain certain people, so they have to cut costs where they can. Now, of course, you could always say, like, why doesn't this CEO go ahead and take a pay cut. Well, like most of the time for companies like Amazon or even Microsoft or some shit like that, you could say something like that and it makes sense. But for studios like maybe Larian or even Riot Games, a CEO pay cut may not even be enough to retain people, so there would still be layoffs at that point. Which sucks to say, and I'm not defending anybody for laying off their people because I've been there before. I've technically worked in the gaming industry in a customer service fashion, and I've been laid off too. And that feeling, it's so shitty, man. Like, it sucks so much. With that being said, what does this really mean for the gaming industry? The first thing that you probably already thought of already is that the job market becomes more competitive. These are very talented people entering the job search, and with limited openings across the board for gaming, not all of those people are going to get those jobs. All those roles will be filled, but you're still going to have a lot of devs left over that are still looking for a job. This leads me to believe that we're going to see a lot of new indie studios pop up. Like I said earlier, these are a lot of very talented people that are entering the job search. And if they can't find a job, you may as well just make your own. So if you start your own indie studio, develop your own game on your own time, whether it be part-time or full-time, and these are people with like AAA, AA experience too. Depending on what kind of game they're making, they're probably going to end up making some bangers, let's be honest. But as a result of this, I'm pretty sure we're going to start seeing some more indie studios pop up. Well, the gaming industry has never really been known for job security, especially, I mentioned that I've had experience in this kind of thing before. Faith in job security will likely tank more than it ever has before. I mean, it already has in 2023 with those massive layoffs. It looks like this trend is just going to continue now. And this whole thing, it just sucks because as a fan of gaming, I want to see these gaming companies succeed. Whether I care for their games or not, that's irrelevant. I just want to see them succeed, but not like this. Not at the cost of people's livelihoods. And if you happen to be a former Riot Games employee stumbling across this video, I just want to let you know I really hope that you land on your feet, whether that be at a different studio, or you're making your own game, whether it be solo or with friends, or just doing something else you love. I hope you land on your feet, because this whole situation, it's a real bummer, man. Truly it is. And on that bummer of a note, that's about all I had for this one. Thanks for checking out the video. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because I'm trying to grow this channel, trying to hit that 1K subscribers by the end of the year. Any help will be appreciated. That being said, stay hydrated. I hope you have a good one, and I'll catch you next time.